In our first story, prosecutors handling the case of two teenagers alleged to have killed a 10-year-old boy for money rituals say they need more time to determine the actual age of the suspects. They therefore urged the Ofanko District Court to remand the teenagers into police custody as their investigations continue. This was granted by the court presided over by His Lordship Samuel Kwesi J. The teenagers have been slapped with charges, including that of murder over the alleged act that has left residents of Kaswa Lamte in a state of shock. A spokesperson for the family of the murdered boy, Samet Akalilu, wants the police to conclude investigations immediately to enable the trial to commence.
Obviously, it is pointing to the fact that the case may delay. Of course, we all know that justice delay is an affront to the rule of law, but we trust in the due process, we trust in the police, we trust that they're going to do a good job. But for us as a family, we felt the basic issues of ages would have been rectified by now, and that could have cleared the air and the way. But we still trust in the due process, and we hope that as early as possible, all these preliminary issues and that are going to prevent expeditious trial will be kept or will be found or solved. Then we can hit the road as early as possible. The family needs justice. We cannot get Ismail Mensah back, but we feel that there should be expeditious trial. The more the case drags, the more a lot of emotions are still involved, resources are expended and all of that. And so we just want to see a finality and a closure of this matter as early as possible. And I think that the family will go asleep. And the rule of law, I'm sure, would have opted for a different option. We are a family of law-believing people, and that is why we have rested our case to the competent security agencies of this country, the state actors that must act like the court. As a family, if you go back to the community, you realize that whilst we are grieving, whilst we are mourning, we have not done anything to indicate that we would want to, if you like, avenge, because we don't believe in taking the law into our own hands as a family. Our belief is that Ghana is ruled by competent laws. The 1992 Constitution, the Criminal Procedure Code, and other laws are enough. And so for us to say we want to take the law into our own hands, that is out of the case. So if it's because of our family, I can assure the good people of this country that if we do not believe in the police and the court, we wouldn't have come here in the first place. So yes, keeping them there is also for their safety. I also agree, because we cannot control everybody's emotion. But for us as a family, I can speak with authority. Several meetings have been held, and that is why we are neighbors, at least for one of them, one of the accused persons.
We're live on Joy News today with me, Daniel Daze. We'll move to other stories. And the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly is considering facilitating access to low-interest bank loans for traders affected by a recent fire at the Central Market. This is to enable the traders bounce back to business after more than 30 shops were destroyed through the fire. Public Relations Officer for the KMA, Ifya Kunedo Abwaji, says the Assembly will offer support to the affected traders.
It's unfortunate that the fire incident took place here. That place is not part of the second phase. So I don't know why people are saying it's not part. It forms part of the third phase. So I have with me, this is the map of the second phase. And then if you can see where the red, green, and the blue labels are, that's the one is for the second phase. And then the other one, A, B, and then the others, they form the third phase. So they are not part of the second phase at all. So the Assembly will have to, is working hand in hand with the Ghana National Fire Service to collect the debris from there and then work on that phase for them, because they are not part of it at all and they've not been catered for. So we can't ask them to move when they are not part of the second phase. Well, the Assembly has always been supporting them whenever there's fire incidents happen like that. So with the market manager, we get their record, we refer them to NATMO for them to do one or two things for them. And then with regards to their capital also, the Assembly also takes into consideration, the General Assembly takes a decision as to how much should be given or the kind of money that can be given to support them, or we liaise them with the bank so that maybe they can get some support at maybe a reduced interest rate or something.
Now, the Ghana National Association of Teachers is asking the government to urgently release books based on the new curriculum to teachers. According to the association, the delay in releasing the books is affecting academic work because teachers have to follow on materials that are not prescribed. Central Region Chairman of the association, Reverend Dr. Isaac Owusu, said this at the 6th Quadrennial Delegates Conference of the association in Cape Coast. Richard Kojonyako has the rest of the story.
The new curriculum was designed in 2019 as part of the learning experiences necessary to equip school pupils and students for higher education and the world of work. Following the development of the Common Core Program curriculum, 153,000 teachers across the country, educational authorities say, received the initial training based on the curriculum. But the Ghana National Association of Teachers says the books based on the curriculum are yet to be supplied to the schools to enable teachers and the pupils to use. Central Regional Chairman of NAT, Reverend Dr. Isaac Owusu, at the 6th Quadrennial Delegate Conference in Cape Coast appealed to the employers to act now.
The issue of textbook for the new curriculum at the primary and KG level, we started this implementation 2019. And we are in 2021 now. And as I speak to you, the teachers are only using the manual that was given to them at the training workshop. And so we do not know why, up to now, the employer is not giving the student and the teachers textbook and the teacher's guide. If you look at accommodation situation for teachers in the country, it's another challenge. You see, promotion and upgrading, another challenge. So, all that we are saying is that we are appealing to the employer and the government of Ghana to come to the aid of the teachers so that we all live in a harmonious workplace or work environment to do our part as teachers to help Mother Ghana.
Deputy General Secretary of NAT in charge of Administration and Labour Relations, Daniela Fedu, assured members of the association a committee has been put in place to look into the retirement packages of teachers.
Issues of pension is high agenda on our table. As I speak, the issue that the regional chairman referred to about the payment of the past credit, there is a committee at the national level which is working on, and it has to do with the law. And there is a proposal that if there is a law that is making people worse off than they found themselves, either the law is amended or something else is done to make the lives of our people better. Because if someone has retired in 2020 and has received something that cannot take him home, as the closer chairman, general secretary will say, Kofi Kowu pension. If I'm also preparing to retire, then I will be more sad and disillusioned. And this can even kill me before my retiring date.
The conference was on the theme NAT at 90, committing to teacher development and professionalism in the 21st century. Richard Kojonyako, Joy News, Cape Coast.
More to other stories, and this afternoon it's official. The Electricity Company of Ghana is set to release a doomsday timetable as it announces planned outages from 10th May to 17th May. According to CEO of the company, Ajimai Budu, this has become necessary due to the ongoing works on the Pokwase bulk supply point. Gridco had earlier warned of imminent power cuts upon request by contractors working on the Kaswa and Pokwase substations. Well, today, that request has been made. During a tour of the Pokwase bulk supply point led by the Energy Minister is when that came through. My colleague Manuel Cranting was on that tour and has joined us with more. Manuel, do we know when this timetable will be released and which areas will be affected by these planned outages? Right. Now, Manuel Cranting will join us shortly. If you would recall, quite not too long ago, the Energy Minister embarked on a tour of some installations by Gridco across the country. This was soon after Gridco announced a nationwide blackout for a day, which really affected business and other activities in the country. At that time, we were told that we should prepare for some planned outages, which time has come now. Manuel Kranting has joined us via telephone. He'll be giving us these updates. Manuel, do we know when this timetable will be released?
Yeah, so Daniel, the confirmation we have is that in the next couple of days we are supposed to be seeing and hearing of this particular timetable that we talk about. And with just that reference that you made to Gridco, indeed the case is that the contractors who are working on the Pokwase and then also the Kaswa substation and bulk supply point have made a request. And so there's an ongoing conversation among the players within the sector, i.e. Gridco, ECD, and all the other contractors to decide on the modality of this particular timetable. What we know is that there's been a grouping of the various areas that will be affected into 4. And so the CEO of ECD made a point that these groupings, each of the areas that fall into a particular grouping will not experience a full day's power outage. So essentially, he makes a point that some of the areas are going to experience at most 12-hour, outage, and then it will take it for 3 days until they get another outage. And that's the arrangement that we are expecting to have. As to the areas that will be affected, names such as in Saom, Pokwase, Ashimota, La Paz, and other areas that are within the Accra area will be affected by this particular timetable, Daniel.
So after the 17th of May, when that schedule ends, does that mean that the work on the substation would have come to a halt?
Well, Daniel, we know that the planned date of completion of this particular power substation, the Pokwase bulk supply point, is 31st May 2021. That is about a month and a half away from now. And so when the schedule ends, that's on 17th May, it will be seen also whether or not the contractors are going to demand extra, days for the outages. We are learning that the 8 days that we are going to have these outages are supposed to allow for the contractors to transfer onto the line some of, the transmission from other, from Valco and then also from Abuate. So that is what we are learning. It may or may not be the termination of that contract, but from now up until the end of May 2021, it is expected that that particular project at Pokwase will be completed, pending the completion of ancillary projects within the area by August 2021.
What has the Energy Minister been saying?
Well, the Energy Minister has been emphasizing on the need for Ghanaians to bear with the situation. He makes the point that this is only part of effort to make transmission of power even more reliable in the country. He says that it has to get worse for it to get better. And that is the explanation that we've been getting. He made a point in the Akan language to say that the Dumna in a year to which we are turning the power off to make it even more reliable. And so that's the point he's making, calling on Ghanaians to bear with the situation and the contractors who work to make the supply of power in the country even better, Daniel.
Now, has the Gridco boss been saying if any other work will be needed in any other parts of the country?
Well, the confirmation we have is that this particular timetable, which we are expecting to be released, is not to cover the entire country. It's to just cover part of Accra. But there's another substation, which is also under construction at Kaswa. Well, we're learning that power substation is also going to be inspected. And then the contractors there will be reached out to see whether or not there's a need for any of similar actions with that power station also. And so we've not gotten a concrete answer to that question. But this is something that we've been asking, and they say by 2 weeks' time we will know the answer.
Right. Thank you very much, Manuel Kranting, for joining us this afternoon with those updates. You're live on Joy News today. Now, editor of the Daily Dispatch, Ben Efson, says the cadres of the opposition National Democratic Congress, NDC, do not wield the influence they did in the past. He is doubtful that their current calls will make a difference in the direction the party is headed in. He was responding to views expressed by former Attorney General Dr. Ben Kumbo, who was speaking after some founding members of the NDC organized the Forum of the Weekend where they called for an investigation into the reasons for the party's 2020 loss before candidates are chosen for the next polls. Let's hear Dr. Kumbo speaking to Evans Mensah on PM Express.
Your national constitution provides for probity and accountability in its preamble. Article 55 requires that every political party in this country must operate along democratic lines, respect in consonance with the constitution and existing laws. When you have this arrangement that has been lifted and put right in the NDC constitution, why can't people ask for accountability? But you see, the question accountability is narrowly interpreted by people to think about finance, profit and loss. That is not it. Political accountability is vertical and horizontal. That you account down to the grassroots and account across.
Accounting for what exactly?
Accounting for your stewardship. And the reason why issues of accountability is being raised, people don't know today what exactly are the collated figures from 2020 elections. I can show you many more. People don't know. You see, this is not the first time that organizational aspects are taking place in the NDC. There was the Obeta Samuel Committee each year. I was a member. We went around this country when we went to opposition in 2000 on reorganization. A report was done. Recommendations were made. I don't know how many of them were implemented. Kam Kwesi Boche's committee. Detailed recommendations were made. I don't know how many of them. And holding a party office is one of succession and continuity. People are asking, you are going for another round or a third round of reorganization of the party. Can you tell us what has happened since the Obeta Samuel's reorganization, the Kwesi Boche's recommendations? How many of them have you implemented? For all you know, it is a failure, possible failure, of implementing those recommendations that you find yourself needing to have another reorganization. This is the context.
Ben Epson, however, doubts that these calls will amount to much. He was speaking on Prime Morning on Joy Prime TV.
The cadres group must understand that given the age dynamics over the years, the influence of the cadres group has dwindled. That they must come to terms with. Yesterday I heard Mr. that he hasn't even seen a copy of the NDC's result sheet and so on. If the late ex-President Rawlings, may he rest in peace, like he gave birth to cadres to give rise to NDC. Even when he was alive, it was kind of difficult for the cadres to reassert themselves. So if this is an attempt to try and reassert themselves, I'm sorry, to be pouring water on rock to try and germinate seeds.
Now, the race for flag bearer for the governing New Patriotic Party NPP in the next election is also gathering momentum, with analysts tipping Vice President Dr. Bawumia and Trade Minister Alan Tremantin as key candidates. But the veteran journalist had an interesting suggestion.
I think that Alan had not done himself good in his political career. He should have gone to Parliament. He hasn't done himself any good. And, you know, Alan was at the peak in 2008 when he was contesting Akufo-Addo. That's 13 years. If you're 20 years now, you're 7 years at that time. If you're 25, dicey. I suspect, given it is early days yet, but given the way it is going, in the end, they may have to perhaps find a compromise candidate
Outside the two
I mean, clearly, Bamia has worked. Vice President Ali Muhammad was a bit laid back. He wasn't too much involved. Bamia has been with Akufo-Addo from 2008, 2012. So he had worked harder and ingrained himself within the politics. And Alan, you know, I mean, definitely between the campaign, there's going to be done a lot of mud.
He says the party cannot possibly enforce the rule barring government appointees from actively campaigning for flag bearer.
There is nothing, I mean, for example, if the party says that we will sanction somebody who comes out, how are you going to know? By posters on? That if I dislike you done, I'll go and print your posters and put it on social media.
So how does the party maintain discipline then? How does the party maintain focus on the presidency?
The reverse coin. How are you going to know who is interested? I know for a fact that Joe Garte was not reappointed because he had come out to say that when nominations open for 2024, he'll be interested. So obviously he was put down.
Really?
Yes. Dr. Koto, you see the flip-flop?
The
Agric Minister.
Agric Minister, okay.
See the flip-flop? He met people, he came out denying. Maybe his doctorate is in agric sciences, not politics. Because if you meet human beings, you cannot put cotton wool in people's mouth not to talk.
Live on Joy News today, let's move from politics. And traditional authorities of New Ioma in the Jasekan district of the Oti region are lamenting the dilapidated state of the New Ioma JHS classroom block. According to them, the situation is affecting academic activities as school automatically closes when clouds gather for rainfall due to leaking roofs. The school also lacks furniture. This has compelled some pupils to sit on stones and benches and write in books placed on their laps or on the ground. Joy News' Fred Kwame Asare has more.
The New Ioma Junior High School A, established about a century ago, has never seen any renovation works. The 4-unit classroom block is fast deteriorating and almost becoming a death trap. The roofing has completely damaged with several sections leaking when it rains. Academic activities are often disrupted during the rainy season. Some of the students lamented the situation.
The damage of the roofing sheets is affecting us very, very bad. Sometimes when we are in the class and it is about to rain, because of the damage of the roofing sheets, the teachers have to close us. That's very, very bad.
The whole roofing sheet is damaged and is stepping our studies a lot because even if it's not yet time for us to close and once to rain, we have to close because our roofing sheet is not good.
The school's Parents Teachers Association began replacing the damaged roofing sheets but had to truncate the project due to lack of funds. The Junior High School A classroom, which has its roofing changed, serves as a shelter for the entire school when it is raining during contact hours. Gabriel Agble is the PTA Vice Chairman.
So we contributed and then started roofing the building. But the way things are, we were not able to finish up because during the COVID, most of the parents too and then the children were not in school, so we don't have much money again to complete it.
I am a native of New Ioma, and this is where I started my school from kindergarten up to old middle school form 4, and I completed in 1980. For some time now, when I visit home, I will see that the building is deteriorating. When it is raining time, in fact, you come here, you feel pity for the students. And even when you get to the classrooms too, some of the roofings were washed off, and you can even see the sky when you are in the room. So the PTA waited and it becomes their problem. So they have taken it up to roof it. But the way the condition is not for roofing alone. We have to re-renovate the whole place. to come to a standard so that the students also will feel free and the teachers will also feel free and teach, and the students also can learn and learn well. So we start making efforts, applying to the District Assembly, Ghana Education Service, and some embassies to assist. Finally, we have to apply to America Embassy. That is Ambassador Self-Help. And the reply they gave us was because of the COVID, they could not take more projects.
The school, with a student population of about 250, is also faced with a lack of furniture. Parents who can afford provide tables and chairs for their children, while those from deprived homes are left to their fate. These underprivileged pupils end up sitting on stones during studies. Others sit on tables or benches while they write in books placed on their laps. This sitting posture may affect their spines and hurt their health as they strive to achieve academic excellence in a congested classroom.
In the class, we are too much in the class, but according to the COVID-19 protocols, they say we should not be more than 30. But here, we are even more than 50-something in one class, and we are also not having desks to sit on. So we somehow pay, some if you're not having chair and table on your own to bring to the school, you have to come, either you stand or you pay with your friends. And it's really affecting our studies.
Traditional authorities are worried about the development since it impedes the education of these young ones. The assembly member for the new Ioma electoral area, Adeleke Benjamin, indicated that several attempts to get relevant institutions to renovate the structure have proved futile.
New Ioma GSSA school here is a very old school that has helped a lot of people in this community. Most graduates that we have from this community and beyond attending this very school here. But unfortunately, the school is deteriorating. The buildings, everything, they are all old and dilapidated. And the community tries so much to fall on our politicians, the DCs and the MPs to assist the school.
Education and Upper West Regional Minister Dr. Hafiz bin Saleh has ordered the evacuation of 312 students of the Wa Senior High Technical School after a rainstorm ripped off the roofs of the school dormitory last Friday. He conceded that although he is not a building engineer, he can state without any equivocation that the building has lost its structural integrity. He said the rainstorm that ripped off the school's one-story boys' dormitory could have been saved if the construction was efficiently done. Dr. bin Saleh gave the order when he visited the school to assess the extent of the damage of the school by last Friday's rainstorm.
According to the headmaster of Wa Senior High Technical School, Sali Ismail, the rainstorm started early evening on Friday, ripping off the roof of the one-story dormitory for the boys constructed a decade ago.
What we realized was that the whole roofing was taken up and brought back a number of times. And after that, this part of the roof got off, and some even went outside the fence onto the filling station, and they were brought back. Our students were inside at the time because it was not yet time for preps for them to leave. Some were jumping from the veranda onto the ground, a few of them, and that was very, very unfortunate. A few of them had some bruises, but we didn't have any fracture.
He noted that the storm has further worsened the plight of the school as they are already battling with overcrowding at the dormitories.
We have about 312 students who stay in this dormitory. And you can see that a new dormitory is being built for them. That was the result of the overcrowding in the dormitories. If my mind serves me right, this dormitory is supposed to contain just 260. But we have about 312 students living here. So that is our biggest problem.
Upper West Regional Minister Dr. Hafiz bin Sali, accompanied by the Upper West GS Director Abdul Razak Abdul Kora, visited the school to assess the extent of damage.
The Upper West Minister stated that he cannot vouch for the structural integrity of the building and has therefore asked authorities to evacuate the students from the building.
I don't want a single student to be here. We should find ways and means of transferring the students out of this building. Their lives are very important to us and we will not risk them occupying the building. So I have directed that by tomorrow, all students occupying the building should be transferred to other buildings. Government on its part will do its part. I have told him to write to me so that I will also in turn write to the Minister of Education so that immediate steps will be taken to work on the building. As he has indicated, very soon students will be coming, and once they come, the school will be overstretched. So we need to do the needful before the students come back.
Upper West Regional Director of the Ghana Education Service, Abdul Razak Abdul Kora, joined the headmaster of the school to appeal to the government and other benevolent organizations to come to their aid.
I do want to join him so that we appeal, at least from all levels, as I've indicated. I'll equally, in the pictures we show, I'll report to my immediate supervisors at headquarters that at least the Honorable Regional Minister has paid a visit for us to see that what we can do. If at the headquarters level there's any support that can come our way, we'll gladly receive it and report it as such.
Upper West Regional Director of the National Disaster Management Organization, Ahmed Mustafa, whose outfit assessed the extent of damage, suggested to the authorities to take up the planting of trees to prevent further rain or windstorms.
One has to do with the planting of trees. I've already discussed that in private. The headmaster, NADMO, have already requested tree from the forestry department to be given to all the secondary schools. When you look at where the facility is, there is no tree around it. But experts will tell you that where the trees are, the rainstorms normally cannot give some of this disaster to buildings.
Per the fiat given by the regional minister, the students in the next couple of days are expected to be evacuated from the affected building to other dormitories that are safe but overcrowded. Government now has the onerous task to quickly fix the challenge of overcrowding before the deadly cerebrospinal meningitis (CSM) and COVID-19 rear their old heads at the school.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafik Salam. Wow.
The live on Joy News today. Up next in the bulletin is Darryl Kwao with the latest in business.
Hi there, welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Egg vendors in Kumasi in the Ashanti region are lamenting the poor quality and sizes of eggs on the market. Checks by Lab News indicate poultry farmers are challenged in accessing raw materials, especially yellow maize, to prepare feed for their birds. The challenge has persisted for the past 7 months. Anita Sewa Ajuga has more in this report.
Maize is the most common cereal used in poultry diets due to its low fiber content, high fat content, and high sweetness. The maize constitutes 60 to 70% of the poultry feed. Farmers prefer to use the yellow maize for feed formulation for chickens. According to the CEO of Rockland Farms, Edith Akosa Wheatland, the yellow maize used as energy source in feed mills gives egg yolk its bright yellow color.
For yellow maize, if you ask any poultry farmer, we prefer the yellow maize. Why? Yellow maize, it gives you a yellow yolk. Besides that, the yellow maize, the weevil doesn't really like the yellow maize because chicken, they get attracted to colors. So when it entices them to eat more. When you use the yellow maize to do your broiler formulation, you see that even the color of the meat changes. You remember what you used to say, akoko sadie? Where do we get the akoko sadie from? That yellowish fat. You only get it when they eat the yellow maize.
Due to the high demand of yellow maize by poultry farmers, prices keep increasing. In the past 2 months, a bag of yellow maize has shot up from 360 cedis to 380 cedis, while a bag of white maize has shot up from 320 cedis to 360 cedis. Antia, a condo seller, is worried the price will go up again.
Price no, yellow no, 3.8, and white no so 3.6. It's next week mom de minim a boy a besign aba. Time the omo kwane ya tuma, omo so ba, no omo aba betum. Titania ade ne city no. A poultry farmers no bebre no.
Poultry farmers prefer the yellow maize to the white maize due to its nutritional value. As a result, the price of yellow maize keeps increasing.
So Entina ya na ema time bia yellow no bom e wosoro.
Michael Yabua, an egg vendor, is skilled in identifying an egg with yellow yolk.
The reason why it's about to make is who say we any white yolk and say we any.
By looking at the shells of eggs, I can differentiate eggs with yellow or white yolks.
Especially or share the questions at this time and the quality now the body language now to me the difference.
Some egg vendors observed the poor formulation of poultry feed has affected the quality and size of eggs.
The body language of eggs. Now, the Alliance for Social Equity and Public Accountability, ASEPA, is urging the government to invest in nuclear power program to help deal with Ghana's power crisis. According to the Executive Director, Mensa Thompson, nuclear power is the only path towards energy sufficiency and industrialization.
The situation keeps recurring because we have failed to make the needed investment in the power sector. We failed to pay attention to our nuclear power program, which seems to be the only surest way for our energy sufficiency as a country, which seems to be the only surest way to provide affordable and stable power supply to industrialize the country. And so today, we are bringing focus on our nuclear power program. How do we ensure that 10, 15 years time, we are not going to come back again in a major power crisis, looking at how we are going to solve this particular problem? And what we need to do is to support government to make the needed investment in our power program, in our nuclear power program, so that by the next 10, 15 years time, when demand for electricity has gone up again, the population has gone up, a number of factories have come upstream and has pushed demand of electricity up, we won't be having another conversation about doom so. And so nuclear technology has now become even more safe. The waste generated from nuclear technology or nuclear power plants is even way less than other energy sources. The level of toxicity of the waste is also even less than what we expect or what comes out from nuclear weapon manufacturing.
All right, and as we have been reporting, there is going to be a timetable to manage the power crisis. More on that on the marketplace at the top of the hour. Meantime, sports is up next.
Hello, this is Sports on Joy News today. I am Muftau Nabila Abdullah.
Sheila Bachman is the Director of Operations for the Ghana Police Service. She's the Director of Public Affairs, rather. She says that the security they provide for Ghana Premier League matches are not enough and believes that if clubs contribute or is committed to fighting hooliganism in Ghana football, they will not engage in negotiations to ensure that the numbers provided at league centres are limited.
Telling our fans and spectators to, by themselves, behave such that they themselves do not become suspects. They themselves do not become the hooligans that we want to prevent. So if everybody does the right thing, there won't even be the cause for incidents to happen for arrest. Yeah. But then, the local organizers, you are into football, so you know the arrangements that go in. So the strength of the police sometimes to provide the necessary security, the advice may come from the police, but the local organizers may want to negotiate for, say, lesser numbers of police officers or numbers that are lower than the recommended numbers by the police officers, sometimes because of the resources that they will have to make available for that to happen. And so we should at all times have the open mind of seeking to adhere to the advice rather than having our numbers ready to negotiate, to limit the kind of security that the police will avail itself to provide at match centers. And where the advice comes that for one or two reasons, because you see, when we're going to provide security, we are not looking at security relative to the match alone. Sometimes there may be prevailing conditions in the community that could trigger incidents happening on the field. Exactly. Yeah. And sometimes you have to negotiate hard before local organizers even get to understand. And these are reports coming from commanders on the ground. So yes, the advice is not only going for spectators to do the right thing, but also for the local organizers to do the right thing from the beginning. Match officials to do what is right for the beginning so that their actions don't trigger actions that call for arresting people later on for prosecutions.
Good afternoon, welcome to Showbiz here on Joy News Today. Now, Ace highlight musician Daniel Amachidede has revealed the circumstances that led to his long-lasting music career. He said he almost gave up on doing music in Ghana, but after selling records in Nigeria, his perspective changed for the better.
See, in fact, there was a time even I decided I have to stop the music. Then maybe because it wasn't easy in Ghana doing music those days, because even the one who was selling my records, my producer, if I want some of the music, because that time we were selling some of our records, and when we are playing, when we are performing concerts those days, you see, but you need to go and beg the producer before you can even be given some of your own composition, your own records to go and sell. Yeah, so it wasn't easy. So I decided to go to Nigeria. In fact, and when I went to Nigeria, I did the first song, To Be a Man Nawa. Wow. And it got so good. It attracted even many people in Nigeria. Also, because of the picture, when I'm coming, there was a place called, I was in Onitsha.
In Nigeria?
In Nigeria. there was a place called Main Market. So the whole West Africa, that was the biggest market. So in fact, you can walk from here to even inside town, then all is market. So because of the picture, when I'm coming, they say, ah, because you look like somebody whose face is familiar. I say, who? Then you go bring the record. Ah, Naim. So the record was so popular, everybody, they bought it, and that's where the life started.
Here's where we end this bulletin of Joy News today. My name is Daniel Daze. Many thanks for joining us. Up next is The Marketplace. See you tomorrow.